Hey guys, Foxdrop here with a video on 5 differences between good and bad junglers. In this video we're going to take a look at a few subtle differences that define what makes a good jungler. Don't forget, as always, if at the end of this video you found it useful, feel free to hit that like button, and if not, well, the dislike button is there as well. I'll also be checking the comments, so if you have any questions or feedback, please don't hesitate to leave something there as well. Anyways, moving on, and I want to introduce our first point by painting a picture for you. Not literally, this hasn't turned into a Bob Ross channel, but figuratively, a painting of the imagination. So picture you're talking to your girlfriend and she seems a little off. So you ask her what's up and she replies by saying, "I'm fine." Now both you and your girlfriend have very different interpretations of what the phrase "I'm fine" actually means. Likewise, good junglers and bad junglers have very different interpretations of what the phrase "it's warded" means. To a bad jungler, this phrase simply means that that warded lane therefore becomes inaccessible. You can no longer gank it. To a good jungler, this means you now need to find a different way to gank. You see, laners are vulnerable from multiple different areas, from in front of them via a lane gank, from their side via the river, and from behind via the tribush or the jungle or behind their own tower. It is impossible to ward all of these areas, and the only way to come close to it is to have allies help you, and we all know players in solo queue barely ward enough for themselves, let alone for their teammates as well. In addition, when someone places a ward, it gives them a sense of security. They feel protected. This often means that they play more aggressive and open themselves up for being collapsed upon. So when your ally tells you it's warded, make note of where, and instead of giving up on the lane altogether, go a different way. If you want more tips on how to improve your ganking, I've made a video discussing that, which I'll link to in the description, and also chuck it on screen at the end of the video as well, so you don't have to worry about any of that just now. The next point is about being a good adapter. No, I'm not talking about that thing you plug into the socket so you can charge your phone or your iPad. I mean having the way you play be influenced by various in-game factors. Bad junglers are not good at this, whereas good junglers will do this in every single game. Specifically speaking, worse junglers will try to gank too much on champions that aren't great at it, or not apply enough pressure on champions that should be doing so. They'll play Devour champions and look too hard to start a fight in the early game, for example. A general rule of thumb is that champions who buy the Warrior enchant tend to be pretty strong as soon as they get it, and should be applying pressure in that early game. Devourer junglers are generally not that strong until a bit later on, when they get some more items or when they get sated. As a result, trying to do too much early really doesn't play to your strengths, especially considering you need to be stacking as efficiently as possible. Runic Echo junglers, the AP champions on the other hand, are very case by case kind of deal. Generally speaking, they're not the type who wants to do too much early and more or less fall short to the warrior junglers. However, you do have people like Elise and who get extremely strong as soon as they complete the item and should be doing stuff early. But then again, there's someone like Fiddlesticks who doesn't gain any significant benefits from getting the item by itself and should still prioritize getting that level 6. The point I'm trying to make here is that having one style for every type of champion is not very effective. However, having said all of that, this allows us to have a smooth as butter transition into our third point, and that is that good junglers will also know when these adaptations, which are essentially a theoretically optimal way to be playing the game, actually become a sub-optimal way to be playing due to the way the specific game is panning out. Basically, adaptations of the adaptations. Adaptation. Now, if I confused any of you guys with how I said that, I'm sorry. Just like I say to my girlfriend when she fancies a quick shag and I'm not quite ready for it, it's really not as hard as you think it is. Basically, even if you're playing a Devourer jungler or just generally someone awful at ganking early, like Soraka jungle, for example. By the way, please don't play Soraka jungle. Even if your optimal gameplay doesn't include any early game ganking, if there's someone playing extremely aggressive with minimal summoners, it would pay dividends to exploit that. Don't be afraid to divert from your initial game plan if you feel like there's a juicy opportunity to gain something by doing so. A game plan should be a guideline, not a strict set of rules. Our penultimate fourth point is about forming decisions based off of the future and not just the present. I'm not talking about how every good jungler practices some form of divination or ace their Tessemancy class at Hogwarts. No, just how good junglers tend to not only just ask themselves what can I do now, but more often, what can I do now based off of what will happen in the near future. This is all about reading the game and having a good understanding of what people might be thinking at any given time. This may sound really complicated and daunting, and whereas it's not quite as tricky as it sounds, it isn't too simple either and does require a decent amount of practice. But at least in my opinion, this is one of the real attractions of jungling in my eyes. An example of what I'm trying to say would be like, instead of looking at mid, seeing that the enemy Zed was playing a little too passive, he's only level 5, and your ally Azir is also playing quite passive, and he's also only level 5, so there's not really that much set up for the gank, and therefore you decide there's not too much going on. Now this is all information based off of the present. If you were to take the future into consideration, you might think that Zed is actually going to hit level 6 soon and will most likely try to all in onto the Azir, so you decide to stick around for the opportunity to counter that all in should it happen. Another example might be that the enemy top laner looks like a nice delicious kill, but you know that Dragon will be respawning soon, so you should instead try to stay around bot side. The more you think about the future when jungling and not just in the moment, the better your overall decision making will be. This does hinge a lot on your ability to read the game though, and this actually can be quite hard to train by yourself because you kind of need a way to learn what you should be doing in the first place in order to then make decisions accordingly. Sadly, there's no simple answer or solution to this problem, but what I would suggest is to just watch full gameplays of junglers who explain their thought process and decision making as they play. And obviously I try to do just that in my commentaries, but I'm far from the only person you can watch to learn those things. Now before moving on to the last point, I just want to thank you guys for watching the video this far. You don't know how much I appreciate you guys watching my videos and supporting me, and I just really hope that you're enjoying it. And like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I'd love to hear your feedback down below in the comment section, or with that like or that dislike bar. So the very last thing I want to leave you guys with is what a successful gank means to a good jungler and a bad jungler. Oftentimes a worse jungler will say I can't do anything and use that as a justification to not gank a lane. Sometimes there are legitimate reasons for this, such as your top laner being 2 levels under the enemy Renekton, who will just 2v1 you if you ganked him. But mostly when people say that they can't do anything, they just mean that they don't think they'll get a kill or summoners from the gank. And this all boils down to how you view a successful gank. Kills and summoners should be your goal, no doubt, but just doing damage is often enough to win a lane for your ally as well. Even if not, your pressure alone can give a pressured ally the breathing space to safely farm or get back on their feet. You'll also make the enemy laner be far more cautious in their general playstyle, as you'll be in the back of their mind. They may respect the possibility of your presence even if you aren't there at all. Of course, spending any significant time on ganks that don't yield any specific tangible benefits like a kill would can also set you behind, so you have to be smart about it and not just run around like a headless chicken. But anyway, that's all I want to say for this video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed watching it and you could learn some things about how to be a bit of a better jungler. Don't forget to go check me out on my social media, my Facebook and my Twitter. Both those things are in the description. And of course, catch me streaming over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Foxdrop, which I'll also put in the description for you as well. How nice am I? But most importantly, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Have a great day, and I will see you in my next video.